Hey everybody, today I want to talk about people pleasing. And the reason that I want to bring this up is because I feel like it just keeps coming up in conversations that I have, either with those of you in the comments below a video or on Patreon live streams or in Hangouts. I feel like it just keeps coming up over and over again. And if you've been following me for any amount of time or been on some of our Patreon live streams recently, you know that I myself am a recovering people pleaser. And I say recovering because I still struggle. And there are times that I still find myself saying sorry too much or trying to do things in order to get people to act a certain way. It's this weird way that I try to control my environment when I feel overwhelmed. And overall, I believe that there are two main reasons that we can struggle with people pleasing behavior. And the first, and where I think it comes from for me, but I'll dig more into that in a bit, is anxiety based, where I can feel so anxious and so worried about people being mad or that I'm not doing things right. And that uncontrollable worry leads me into, trying to please others so that there's some semblance of control, if that makes sense. And then the second, and one that I've talked about in videos recently, is kind of that fawn response or having people-pleasing behavior in relation to trauma. And the reason for that, if you haven't caught those videos, is really that we fawn over people in our lives as a way to prevent them from harming us again. And I do want to put out there, because someone mentioned, I forget which video this was, but let's say a video or two ago, about how not all trauma or not all abuse is like loud, like things that we would notice. It can be kind of quiet abuse, like emotional neglect and things like that. And so I just want to say that also could be a reason that we people please, so that maybe we get a little bit more of that attention we've been craving or something like that. And I think it is important for us to know that trauma and issues with people, it can look a lot different, right? It's not always out loud and in our face. We don't always feel the abuse physically. We can feel it emotionally, and that's just as painful and just as powerful. So people pleasing for me, I'm still working on it. And there are times, you guys, when I haven't slept well. I haven't been eating, like I'm hungry, right? I haven't eaten in like 3 or 4 hours. I'm starting to get hungry. Or I haven't felt very connected to people in my life. I'm feeling lonely. You guys know that HALT, the hungry, angry, lonely, tired, checking in on those things. If I'm not taking care of those basic needs for myself, I will find myself slipping into that people-pleasing behavior more. I will apologize for things that I don't even know what I'm apologizing for. I'll say sorry. I'll feel like I'm in the way if I'm out in public. I will try to do things to please Sean overly, like what's not necessary. It's fine to want to please people in our lives and to do things nice for others that we love, but it shouldn't be overwhelming like that. And the main way that it comes out for me is saying sorry. I say sorry all the time. I say sorry for things that I had nothing to do with. I say sorry for things I'm not even sorry about. I say sorry for taking up space. And I think for me, my people pleasing is born out of my discomfort with conflict. I have this intense struggle with conflict. And for a while, I wondered if maybe it came from trauma in my childhood or something like that. And I talked about it in therapy for a long time, and even talked with my mom. And she was like, even as a kid, if your dad and I even just had a disagreement, not even a full on argument, you would be like, stop, as a little kid. I would want them to be like, stop screaming. My mom's like, we're not screaming. We're just arguing about where to go for dinner. It wasn't, I have always just been really uncomfortable with it. And I dug into that thinking maybe there was trauma there, but I think really where it comes out of is that deep-rooted anxiety and just difficulty with conflict. And I wish I had better answers for you, but I wanted to put that out there because sometimes in therapy, it's not like we have this neat answer for why we have a symptom, right? I people please, and it's not like, oh, it's directly correlated to this and it ties up nicely in a bow and we're okay. It was more me discovering that I don't like conflict. And I'm not even sure where that comes from. My guess is anxiety, because there's a lot of people in my family who have anxiety, and I know I run on the anxious side of things. So that anxiety, coupled with the fact that for some reason I've always just hated conflict, makes me want to people please so that I'm never in conflict with other people. And I work on it to notice the symptoms for me. So I just want to put that out there because it's not always neat and tidy. I'd love it if it was, but if you feel like your therapy is a little messy and not all of it makes sense, it's okay. I'm there with you. So that's that component. Then I want to talk a little bit about the trauma-based. If you find you have trauma in your life, We can people please as a way to protect ourselves and in future relationships. So let's say we have this abusive relationship when we grow up, when we find ourselves fawning over our abuser so that they maybe don't hurt us as much or as often or as badly or whatever we think that we're doing, right? We're doing our best to do everything just right to hopefully get a better result. Then, so that relationship, let's say hopefully, ends. And then we go out to have friendships and romantic relationships or any kind of relationship in our life. And we can find ourselves fawning or people pleasing again. And I believe in this case, and maybe this is even like, as I think about this, maybe this also relates to me, but I think it comes from like a low self-confidence or a difficulty with self-worth, because we can think, they're not going to like me if I don't do things for them. They're not going to like me if I don't offer this support or that resource. And I'm here to tell you that people can love us and want to be around us just because we're us, right? It can feel like the only reason someone would ever want to be around us because our nasty self-talk is telling us we're just such a terrible person all the time. We can think the only way to get someone to want to be around us is by offering something. Like we have to have I will be the friend that goes above and beyond, always offering my support, whether that's financially, whether that's of my time. And I won't ask for anything in return, right? Because if we ask for things in return, then we're going to have to give even more. And getting caught in that cycle can lead to, honestly, emotional burnout. And it compounds that lack of self-worth. Because I'll even give an example personally. So in my relationships with like my friendships, because I struggle with Sean too. I'll over apologize, and he's like, "Stop saying sorry," and then I'm like, "I'm sorry." It's a horrible nightmare with that, and I'm working on that. But with my friendships, for some reason, if I haven't been taking care of myself, again, having to check in, have I slept well, ate well, what's going on with me, super stressed out because of work, what's happening? And I have an interaction. Let's say I went out to dinner with one of my friends, because this happened. This is like years ago, but I went out to dinner with a friend, and it's happened between now and then, but this is just a very succinct example. I went out to dinner with a really good friend of mine, and we had a great time. I hadn't seen her in forever. It was good to catch up. We spent like 2 hours just hanging out, and then she was like, "Oh crap, I got to go relieve the babysitter. I got to go. I'm so sorry." And we got the check and we left, and it felt kind of, do you ever have those interactions where it was wonderful, and then the end, it was like, "Okay, bye." And I felt a little dysregulated, a little like, did I do something? Even though, check the facts, Katie, I knew that I didn't. But so the next day I texted her and just said, "Oh, it was so good to see you, good to catch up, blah, blah." And I didn't hear from her until the following afternoon. And in that time from when I sent that text until that following afternoon, I had all of these like wild people pleasing thoughts where I was like, / anxious thoughts. And I was like, "Oh my God, she's mad at me. Maybe I did something. That's why she cut it short. Oh my God, I think I need to apologize. Something must have happened." And in that moment, and in those swirly, twirly thoughts, I've learned that I need to, number one, distract. So I remember that day. I remember, calling my mom, going for a walk. It was when we were in Santa Monica and the weather was totally predictable. Texas is not totally predictable, but I would just walk around. So I went for a walk, cleared my head, called my mom, and just got myself to kind of calm down just a little bit, because I need that like dysregulation or anxious buildup to come down like 15% or so. And then I can do some fact checking, because then in my head I was like, okay, well, what proof do you have, Katie, that your friend is mad? I couldn't come up with anything. What could she possibly be upset about? I couldn't come up with any answer, because there were no facts to support this crazy, anxious, people-pleasing thought spiral I was getting caught into, where I was like, "Oh my God, I need to apologize. I'm going to lose this friend." Like, you go from like 0 to 100. If any of you struggle with it like I do, you know how quick your mind just goes from one to the other. But if I can distract and slow down and check my facts, then I'm okay. The trick is not engaging with that person and letting them know about the chaos that you're experiencing. And overall, that's what helps me distract, check facts. And that just helps me kind of push through, because here's one last example, and then we'll wrap this up, is that one of my good friends, and I think she wouldn't mind me calling her out, so I'll say her name because you guys have known her. She's been on the channel before. My good friend Rocio, in the past, not anymore, but in the past, she's had this history of like triple booking herself. And she, if she's watching this, she will giggle along, because she's like, "Yep, I used to do that." And it would get to the point where she'd be like racing from one thing to the next, not able to enjoy any of them, right? We've all double booked ourselves, I think, or maybe it's just us people pleasers, but it's because she didn't want to upset anybody and she didn't want to not show up. And I understood that, but I used to call her out on it. And I was like, hey, if you're feeling rushed, we can just reschedule. We can do this another time. And I bring that up because she's a close friend of mine. I love her very dearly. And it wouldn't have bothered me one bit if she had to reschedule or ask me to meet at another time or me to come closer to her house or whatever it may be. Now she has 3 kids, so I usually will try to meet her in a place that's easiest for her because she has more logistical stuff, right? But friendships are about give and take, and relationships in general are about give and take. And there are times when it is helpful to give to someone, but there are also times when it's helpful for someone to give you something. Hey, you guys, editing Katie here real quick. I was just listening to the video with Sean and I was like, I didn't mention 2 important things. Number 1 is I think people pleasing sometimes for me comes out of a feeling of responsibility for other people's emotions. I don't know what that's about, but I have a suspicion that it's because I struggle with placing and upholding healthy boundaries, and it's something I'm constantly trying to navigate. And those 2 things combined, I feel like just makes it really complicated and confusing because I struggle to see that relationships can have healthy boundaries. I don't always have to put the other person first. It's just hard to see that sometimes. And so I think those are 2 other important components that maybe resonate with you, because that's definitely something that I've struggled with. Sorry. My therapist used to say, if you can give me a reason, if you can answer the question, what am I sorry for? I give you full permission to say you're sorry. She's like, but if you can't come up with an answer, that's not a real sorry then. That's people pleasing. And it's one of those things like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so I could never come up with the reason that I was sorry for like 99.99% of the times that I said it. Because I don't know why I was saying it. I actually still don't fully understand why I said that. I think it was kind of a way to like minimize myself and be like, are you mad at me? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it was just a way to like deflect and keep the peace so that no one would be in conflict with me. But anyway, I'd love to hear from you. Do you struggle with that too? Because like I said, I still have tough days, like when I haven't slept well, because Sean and I have a puppy. He's keeping her entertained in the other room. So she's not climbing all over. But and so I'm getting up earlier, so I'm not sleeping as well as I used to, and making sure that I eat regularly in my job. There's a lot that's asked of me at times, so I can get really stressed out. And when those things are happening, I'll find myself apologizing more and all of a sudden randomly worrying that one of my friends is mad at me when I have no facts to support it. And so I just have to check in with myself, and I have to pay attention to when that is coming up for me. And then try to do some opposite action. Maybe it's not even any action at all, right? Because sometimes for me, people pleasing is just a lot of action. And so if I just don't do something, that can sometimes prevent me from kind of making an ass of myself or, people pleasing more. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you. How do you experience it? And what's helped you? Because again, I'm still working on it. It's something I still struggle with from time to time. But yeah, I just want to have a conversation because I feel like more and more people are mentioning it and talking about it. And I want y'all to know I'm right there with you. But overall, I'm doing okay. One day at a time. I try to, take time for myself. I make time for my yoga. You guys know that helps me keep myself sane and feeling good. Trying to eat regularly and connect with people who fill me up, and also taking vacation. Sean and I are taking vacation at the end of October, beginning of November, and I couldn't be more excited. So yeah, making some time for downtime is important too. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this. It was just something I wanted to talk about, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.